Kelly.
Here.
Alderwoman Day.
Here.
Alderman Craig.
Here.
Dennis and Fozzie are excused. So John Howard.
Here.
And Mayor Kresvik.
Here.
You guys pledge allegiance?
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Danielle? Is that me? In attendance.
Doors are set now.
First member is here.
Correct.
All right. So, is there a citizen, any citizens in attendance today? If not, we'll move to the next thing, which is economic development, I guess, right?
No, we're gonna go a little out of order. The order that we're gonna go in is in this packet. I think
On the what?
in this packet. It's the second page. So I believe. Are you Noah?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Nice to meet you. I'm Danielle. So we have Noah here from the senior citizens group.
Okay.
Who's going first?
Oh, I'm first. Huh?
Sure. Go ahead. You're sitting there.
Can I sit or should I stand?
Nope. You can sit.
You're good.
Yep.
You're good.
Okay. My voice carries, so you won't be able to hear me. Okay, here's my situation. Our situation. I was drafted into Franklin Senior, and I'm writing this down because I don't have any brain, and my wife said I started with them. But okay. I was drafted into Franklin Seniors and joined late February 2025 to be voted in and served since March 5th, 2025. There was no one willing to take the job. Past President John Bagansky died of a massive heart attack in January. No one was aware of the need for, one, a request required for extension of a 2024 budget, two, quarterly or 6-month report to the council or anyone tracking the monthly expenses paid to the city. The 2025 budget was presented by the past president alone without sharing with the board or treasurer. And if you look at it, it's $12,000, which is $125 times 8 times 12. So basically, he figured 125 people would participate, and it would cover the $8 that you pay per person, and that there weren't anything close to that at that time. Basically, the other expenses of entertainment, about $2,000, state mandated fees of $50 to $75, and licenses to be reimbursed at the end of the year for an overestimate of the luncheon participant. Problems. I believe leftovers from previous budgets were requested in past years and assumed this year. No one tracked the payments made by the city to Root River, including the treasurer. Justin Lockridge no longer works at Root River. We provided a menu request for 2026, and the general manager, now who's running this, Tammy Brissett, agreed to keep the cost per meal the same as long as there were no significant increase in costs. So we negotiated that. I did. Our membership participation has increased more than anticipated by our past president. I don't know, but assume that the surplus balance. Boy, you were listening. Thank you. The surplus balance was forwarded since the budget request was not increased until last year from $10,000 to $12,000. Prices have gone up significantly. Participation and membership has also gone up significantly. And all we want to do, provided you approve the rollover of the monies not spent in 2024, to keep the budget request at $12,000 for 2026. Of the 3 senior organizations sponsored by the city of Franklin, we have the most members and most updated as far as what is going on in Franklin, briefly because of the mayor. And he lets us know what's going on every time. All three citizens travel and working and walking club are run by volunteers There are no salaries, no retirement, and no benefits. My wife, who has taken reservations for the past 12 years and recruited me for this position, I still have to talk to her about, notes that attendance monthly averaged 70 to 85 meals. This year, the average was 115 to 126. I respectfully request the extension of the 2024 budget to forego a latter hat-in-hand request for an increase. We will be asking the membership to contribute more toward the meals to accommodate the current budget requests in the future. Note most of, if not all, are on Social Security, and the cost of living has significantly increased, far more than Social Security increase. That's my statement.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I appreciate you being here. I can tell you that at the September 9th council meeting, or I'm sorry, September 2nd council meeting, they did approve the rollover from 2024 into 2025, so you will have that additional funding to use in 2025. And then, like I stated in my email, if you basically provide the same exact thing that you did this year, if there's any funding that could potentially be rolled over into 26 that's left over, just submit that to myself or Lisa at the beginning of the year. And
At the beginning of the year, roll over? Okay.
Yep.
I'm assuming that he was going to ask that, but then he died.
And probably.
And
So,
nobody else knew any of this stuff.
and the proposed budget for 2026 at this time is $12,000.
Yes, and
So,
that'd be fine. We can work with it. Wow.
so that's all. Thanks,
Well,
we
thank you so
appreciate
much.
it. Thank
What a
you.
wonderful answer.
Thank you.
Right.
Worth the money we gave you.
Right.
It worked.
Right?
Something worked. Hey, Nelson, it worked.
I'll see you Wednesday for Spaghetti Day.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, who's next then?
Next, we have the clerk's department.
Clerk Department? And representing the court department is
Shirley Roberts.
really,
Roberts.
She's our city clerk.
I'll start with the alderperson budget.
what page are we on here?
45.
45?
Yeah,
Sorry, I should say.
46 is a list of the memberships that the city pays for. A lot of them are licensing and things that have been in the budget for quite a while. Like the broadcast, the BMI, and the composers, those are music licenses. So if we ever have anyone like concerts in the park, play music, and buy any composers, our licenses would cover that. So the CSAC, the broadcast, and the American Society of Composers, those are all music licenses. And then the Wisconsin Public Forum, South Suburban Chamber, Intergovernment Cooperation Council, those are all memberships that the city does for the aldermen. Next on page 52, our clerk and elections. I don't have any problem with anything that's there. The only thing is sometimes I don't know when an election comes up. I don't know what the turnout's going to be. I can guesstimate, but like our ballot orders, I have to have in by December of the prior year. So if the February election is very contested, which probably means a higher turnout, then I have to order more ballots. And I expect it to be a very busy year because we have the alderman in April, the mayor in April, and then we have the governor in November. I don't have any problems with what's in the budget for that, or the clerks. Weights and measures, that's a blanket thing. We contract with the state. The state tells us after they do the inspections how much it is. Then we turn around and we bill back the establishments or if they were tested. A flat fee, we take the total fee divided by how many stores they did. And that flat fee then goes to those stores, and then we determine what dollar amount is. Like if they did 52 units at a store, we figure out how much per unit, and then we charge that store back for that. St. Martin's Fair. I don't know what to say about that. It always runs in a deficit. We did have a meeting. They did vote to raise the fees. There is something that needs to be talked about that was brought up is we do public grants. So the public grants is it's a fee that a nonprofit organization pays, and then they can do up to 4 events at a price of like $25 or $50 for 3 or more. There was talk that maybe since these not-for-profits at St. Martin's Fair make quite a bit of money, either to ask them to donate back to the city, or maybe we dissolve the public grants. I don't know. That's not my decision. Weed control.
Page.
151. This is the first year DPW is cutting because our former weed cutter does not want to do it anymore. So I think it's going okay. Kevin? Yeah. Yeah. What it is if the homeowner doesn't cut the property, send them a notice. If they don't cut it, then the city will go in and cut it and charge them a fee. If they do not pay that fee, it's charged so much per hour. If they don't pay the fee, then it's put on their tax bill. That's it.
The only thing is capital. I think there was a request for the Badger books.
Yes.
So to do 2 Badger books a year going forward, if you want
Correct.
to explain that.
Because we used to pay like $100 per machine for the maintenance on them, fix them. But since we've had them, I've only had to send, I think, 1, possibly 2 back for maintenance. So in talking with other municipal clerks, a lot of them were just replacing them because most of ours are between, 9 and 10 years old, if not a little less than that. But so I asked Danielle to put in the capital budget for 2 machines each year, so when we replace them, that we can replace them. Also in the capital budget, the county told me that in 2030 they're upgrading all the 200s, and they don't know a cost for that yet. ES200s, I think we're around $14,000. I don't know. She can't give me a price on it. But that's in 2030. They plan to replace it. It's the machine that you put your ballot in. It sits on that, like, it looks like a garbage can.
And all that.
Yeah. They're going to upgrade all of that, and in the county, they do all the programming, so everything is upgraded. So, okay. Any questions?
Yep.
Go ahead.
On no, 56. Yeah, 56. Let's see here. There's printing in here, and it's 16.5. Last 25 budget was 10.
Correct.
And so what is that?
We have 4 elections this year.
So that's the printing of the. Okay.
I mean, we'll know about an election in February.
Yep.
I won't know that until January 2nd.
So it's kind of projecting out the fact of.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, because we have 4 elections instead of possibly.
Yeah, with a primary and out.
Correct.
Okay.
And then my question/comment, and Shirley, I don't think you'll be able to answer this, but it's for the group as a whole. For St. Martin's, and then also tangentially Civic Celebration when we get to it. the large majority of the costs associated with both of those are staff time, and a large chunk of overtime or / holiday pay, because they both occur over holidays. And I am curious if, and if we have in the past, when was the last time we looked at it, contracting for private security services for this rather than using our own PD. I think there's potential for savings there, quite a bit actually.
Yeah, I don't think that was ever brought up. I can bring that up to the committee.
I remember us not, I remember it getting brought up at the one meeting that we all attended, and we talked about reducing the amount of police staff
They did
time
reduce
over
some
there.
this year. At the meeting, they did.
And I remember
reduce
us
some.
saying something about, just mentioning the option for a security instead, but there wasn't any sort of extensive conversation.
The next time they meet is May. I can then.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem with both of these is that we have budgets that we have, but then they always come in over, and I'm trying to figure out a way to rein it in so that the events can still happen, but that we're not always having all these unexpected, unpredictable fees associated with them. If it's a contracted, because even if it's near the same, if it's contracted, you know how much it's going to cost.
Correct.
So the price is the price, and then you can make decisions based on that. But here, it's overtime and holiday pay and benefits on top of it. So I mean, it's
Yeah,
we need to find more revenue from both of these.
They did talk about that. That's how the public grants came up. They thought maybe if like the Lions Club or the Lioness maybe would be some donating, or the bars there donating a certain percentage of their sales back to the city.
Like what about I mean, unpopular opinion, I'm guessing, but the businesses along that road that probably make a killing that weekend. Is there any thought about charging them a fee or asking them to donate a portion of their fee to the city? Because I'm willing to bet that weekend is probably 3 months worth of revenue for some of those.
Right. Yeah, I don't think that was ever brought up. I know Rosie does go around to those businesses and ask for donations for advertising. That she's done for years. But in our meeting last week, they did suggest raising fees. That's not going to amount. I mean, the restrooms this year were almost $19,000, and that goes up every year. Other than that, the expenses is fire and DPW.
And what I can say is my projections were way off. So, Mayor, just so that maybe this is a conversation offline, but we put $41,000 for personnel in the budget for St. Martin's Fair, and it ended at $50,000. And I only projected, 39? I'm a little curious as to why there was that much personnel in Martin's Fair this year. So, not anything you can control. But
I don't have any control over that. And I know both of them were at the St. Martin's Fair meeting, and both of them did say they did cut back. And like the fire department, they had a fire going on, so they were, short-staffed the way it was.
Does fire have to physically be on site though?
Probably. I mean, I know when I was there on Sunday, twice they went by me. They had a heart attack, and
A legitimate heart attack with
Yeah.
transport.
yeah, and something else during that period that I was there because I saw them go by me.
And again, I don't know if that was cheaper. It might be. I don't know.
Not you've been taken for a ride.
Is St. Martin's Fair a 2-day fair?
Yes,
Yes.
Sunday, Monday.
And Civic Celebration this year was 3 days? Is Civic Celebration's a 3-day event?
Yeah.
Civic Celebrations personnel was only 44,000.
Well, I know and I'm trying to move this along. I know that they do, we can bring this, but I know there's a setup for the command post trailers by fire and police, so there's that added in there. I know Sergeant Fadness, I think, made reference that they had 10 officers on, 10 officers, police officers on the entire, every time the fair started, there was 10 on the entire time start to close. So, yes, could that be looked at? Absolutely.
I can bring that up to Rosie about the agency. All right. Anything else?
Well, we were going to talk about her fees now, or is that separate?
Let's do that offline. We don't have a
All
lot
right.
of time tonight.
Yeah, some of my fees, just so you know, I can't change the state mandate. Alcohol licenses, bars, and that state mandate.
Thank you.
Okay, so who's next?
We can do civic celebration. That is page 191.
Just as a side note, we do not have fire department on staff at Civic Celebration.
Oh, okay, so that could be a.
And because they're right within 5 seconds of us.
Yep.
And they were only called once.
Okay, so I know you guys presented the income and expenditures from this year's civic celebration event to the council, but I don't know if you kind of want to maybe just briefly explain how that event went to the finance committee, and then your request for 2026.
In 2025, it was a 3-day event, and we had, our income was donations, ticket sales, food vendors, the city general fund of $30,000, the carnival commission, non-food licenses, and ATM rental. We had total income $156,000. And in comparison to then 2024, we ran for 4 days, and it was $177,000 income. We had, in 3 days, we had 156, and in 4 days the previous year, we had 177. It kind of made sense that, you know, the additional day was additional income. And on the expense side, our biggest expense, like you have mentioned already, is police and DPW, and that was $44,000. And in 2024, $54,000. And then we have entertainment. You know, that's our second highest expense. That was $36,000. And the parade was $11,000. And then fireworks was $30,000. Most of the other stuff was general stuff like supplies and the tent rental. Tent rental is $19,000. Tents, tables, and chairs was $19,700, and that's a fixed expense if you do it for 3 days, and if you do it for 4 days, you get charged, you know, the one-time charge for it. We had a total expenses of $176,000 versus the income of $156,000, so it was a difference of $19,427. But as I pointed out to Common Council, out of that $19,427, you know, was a negative. We put back into the city $44,000. And then in 2024, after running 4 days, we did have a larger negative loss out of the general fund of $21,000 versus last year was $19,000. Any questions on that?
Do you know what's left in the general fund? The money that.
Yeah, what's left in the general fund
It's on page
is
192.
like
Okay.
16, 19, it's in the 12,
$12,000.
12,000, right? Yeah. That went from 32 down to, down to 12. At one time, I've been doing it for 30 years. At one time, we had over $100,000 into the general fund. Just ever since we've been getting, and we weren't charged for police and DPW at that time. We kept increasing that fund. And then this year also, we did present to do possibly 4 days, and even move the parade to Sunday. But Common Council did not approve that, and again, we met after that. And if we're not going to be able to have the parade on that Sunday, we're not going to do it 4 days. We'll be doing it 3 days. So any questions? Courtney?
So if you're doing it for 3 days, would it be just? I have your stuff from the council meeting. I just kept it in here.
Yep.
Because on the 3-day projection that you have, you still have the Thursday through the Sunday listed there. Which day would you cut off? The Thursday, then, and run it Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
No, Sunday. Sunday would be cut off.
So it'd be Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yep.
Okay. That was that question.
Which is what we did exactly this last year, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
And then
And the carnival runs on Sunday by itself.
right. Yep. And your projection for that was about 131,000 for the 3-day. And in the budget, we projected 106. On the right page. Hold on.
107 just for the non-personnel, yeah.
Yeah, 107.
Yeah, I did see that too, but I had a question in the budget, that you had. There were no fireworks in there.
Is that included in the sundry contract? I'm guessing.
That's how it is. We combine,
Yeah.
we don't have each specific
but
line item.
When I
It's
looked at what you had combined, it was
because that's all that fund can afford at this time is 48,000 for entertainment, and not the, I don't remember the exact 80,000.
yeah, but what exactly is, that's in entertainment, which is almost 30,000. Fireworks is 30,000, that's 60,000. Parade is 12, that'd be 72. So
Yeah.
I didn't understand why you had 48,000 in there.
I guess that's the point is, and I guess I'm the Debbie Downer in the room because I'm the only one that's bringing stuff up, but the point is we don't have it. So it's there's a budget, then you have to make it work in the budget. So if that means that it's a little less on the fireworks, which I think everybody loves the fireworks, so maybe that's not it. Maybe it's not as many entertainment acts or different entertainment acts that aren't as much money. I'm looking at, this is peanuts comparatively, but we spend $3,000 on T-shirts. I'm not sure that we need to spend $3,000 on T-shirts
Yeah.
because not everybody in City Hall needs a T-shirt. I know it's nice that everybody in City Hall gets a T-shirt, but not everybody needs a T-shirt.
I sold
Kind of
mine
thing.
on eBay.
We talked about that
$2.
at our last meeting, and we can cut, we're cutting all the entertainment out of the parade. We're not gonna have anybody from other than outside of Franklin, our homegrown, we're gonna have a homegrown parade. So no, brewer hot dog sausages for $3,700 and bands for $3,200 in the parade. If we have none of that, we take that 10,000, put it back in, we cut the T-shirts and cut back on flags. I think we can save 20,000 right there.
Yeah, so and that's kind of what we're asking, like if we give you, the number, whatever the final number is, then my hope was when I tabled this last week was that we could give you a number that you could then work with and make those contracts, and that we weren't, dragging this out until November, so I'm hopeful we can give you like a roundabout number so John, you can start doing what you need to start doing and kind of move things around.
Because I know, you're going through, and we always pictured 150th anniversary being something, we don't want to really scale down and make it, like fireworks too. We don't know what the tariff's going to be on the fireworks this year. That's something, that's still unknown. You could still get a $10,000 charge just for tariffs.
And then I would, as for St. Mark's, I would encourage just taking a look at what private security might cost versus what.
Yeah, I heard you mention that. You have such good.
We have traffic data, so I don't know if private security come in and take over the road.
No,
That will
they can't.
go with the police. That's our expense because
That's
we
a
have
big
the parade
expense.
shut down and we have fireworks. That's the issue.
So they're not necessarily just walking, like patrolling the grounds.
The fair,
No.
well, they're yes,
Here
they are
do,
patrolling the
yeah.
grounds, but
Yeah, but we usually have minimal. I mean, we'll
Okay.
have 3, and then auxiliary usually take care of
So
that.
yours are more road
Yes.
patrol. Okay, that
I
is
mean,
different
we
than.
can cut out more officers off the grounds because they're close enough. If we would need them, we call 911 down. If we can staff with auxiliary, that's fine. And they've got
It's just
uniforms,
little things
they'll
like
help.
that, little thing here, little thing there.
And I did, what you do on the budget, you do have to estimate cost increase, and a big one of that 10,000 of that was an estimate that the tariff's going to be $10,000 more. Might not be, and it might be even more.
Yeah, I mean the good news with that is if that doesn't happen, then you've got a little bit of extra money to throw something in at the end.
And remember with the budget, this is a, budget, the signed contracts and the, get all the planning set up. That money, the general fund of $30,000 given to us. And I also looked at, we put back 44,000 in there. What if we didn't even have the 30,000 general fund added? We didn't pay the police and DPW. We'd be all self-sufficient. And, because that money does not come out, that negative that we had just now of the 19,000 did not come out of the city. It came out of the general fund that we have built up to. So it didn't cost the city 19,000. So that general fund is gone. Then we have to be concerned about what it's cost the city, but it's not costing the city anything more than right now $30,000 is our general fund.
If I understood that, what you're asking for is the city to pay for the police and DPW?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that actually be an increase to 50,000 roughly a year?
No, we don't you don't pay the 30,000. We don't take that in.
Right,
But you
but
don't take
the
out
cost
44.
of police and DPW is about 50, right?
It was 44. So if we don't have 30,000 coming in, we don't have 44,000 coming. So now we got to make up for $14,000. You know what I'm saying?
Although it's still the city's money.
Yeah.
You're just shifting it to the police budget versus that budget. So I mean, we still have to account for the money somewhere, whether it's in your budget or in their budget. So it's not like the money goes away. Someone still has to pay their time and
Or you
whatnot.
just don't have any personnel there.
Yeah.
You hire your own staff to set up. That you only call 911. There's nobody there.
Right.
You still need
And there's
that.
an issue.
You still need it for the road.
Right.
Correct,
Yeah.
right.
So, yeah, we could be self-sufficient on the grounds. And like I say, the auxiliaries aren't paid, they're just volunteer time. And they've got the uniform.
I would just like to point out that there is a similarity and an opportunity here that exists with our departments. We're talking about increasing revenue and how to do that. Well, this is a program that already solicits donations, and my first response for more programming and more money would be bring in more donations. And, that's a direct way to impart on making this thing happen.
Yeah, 'cause that-
Or to be fair, what was another thing that, brought up, I think it was brought up by Dennis, was similar to the,
Sponsorship.
yeah, Costco slaps a sign on the side of our fire truck for, we'll just say $1,000 or whatever during the parade, and look at all those people that now.
Right.
That was our
Sponsorship,
intent, yeah.
donations, right, just getting that exposure and that sort of thing. And I get it. I think that's a hard thing to do. I've never been that type of person to ever be comfortable asking others for money, but that's something that directly supports this program, and the community loves it, and I think that it would be a great way for companies in Franklin to show their support for the community.
And we're also going to add Marinelle into the letter itself, so hopefully that will.
And our
Whatever you
donations
need.
went from, previous year in 24, went from 23,000 up to 26,000, but did increase. And we had help from Courtney and Mayor Nelson, and, maybe with the 250th, we can get a lot more loyalty donation too. Help that out.
A lot of new businesses coming to Franklin. Want people to know they're there, so opportunity.
Or just even opportunity, I don't know, from standpoint of maybe there are restaurants, local restaurants that would like to have an area to do some sort of food vendor thing, or retail that sells something that would like to be part of this. I mean, they might not know because we're not asking, or we might not know because we're not asking. Just those opportunities to bring more into, and then also you engaged another business and got the support of that business. And then in turn, you're supporting them, giving them exposure.
And when I appear again in Common Council in October, then I'll look at trying to cut off at least $8,000 to $10,000 in the budgeted request that I had you guys previously. We'd be coming close. Jason.
My concern then would be if we're making these cuts, is that going to negatively impact your revenues? You've been doing this for quite a while, as you said, and you've seen like different economic environments as far as, is that something that we should also be concerned about, where with lesser than, does that translate, is there a through line as far as creating lesser as far as the revenues?
Yeah, with entertainment, it makes a big difference. You have good entertainment, you're going to have good sales. And it helps the food vendors, helps the beer sales. We have one van that we've had almost 6 years now, Bella Cane. Their sales equals what all the sales all the other nights equal. If we can find another one similar to that, we can make up, but looking to have better entertainment.
Can I throw an idea out? I know there's a common council meeting, so they want to expedite it. But council, speaking of, did amend the Class B license to include all RTDs. Is that correct? All pre-packaged.
Prepackaged
They give
drinks,
alcohol?
alcohol for sale.
No.
Yeah.
So that's an option to offer a wider variety, because
No, they
I know
just-
when I've
yeah, you guys
served,
did.
Oh, yeah.
I've had people request things that we didn't have, and they're like, Tosa has it, they have it. Just an idea.
An open bar at a
No, but like a canned
Might make it.
beverage
Oh, maybe.
idea.
We will appear in front of council then on that first week of October. And we'll have a budget then for that. We will, and on 3 days before.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next we have economic development. Page 170.
Good evening. Thanks for giving us some time to go over some of what we've been doing and take a look at our budget. This year, we've had a major effort to do some strategic planning, started last year and taking a bit of time this year. And since that's completed, that's reduced part of our budget that is other professional services. And so several folks here have been engaged in that process as well, doing the strategic planning through focus groups and strategic planning retreat. We've also been involved with major development projects. We've heard about some of them already, Yaskawa being one, Modine being another. Again, several people in this room and other departments involved in these projects. I mean, take a look at my budget and what I do, and you see the projects that are going on, you know intuitively I don't do it on my own. I ask a lot of favors and see how much I can get for the companies to assist them that's within the reasonable parameters of the projects and the programs that we have and what we can do with them. Do a lot of that work through TIF projects. And so right now, we're still working with 4 projects that are $100 million projects, some substantially more than that. And then we've got a couple more that we're working with that are in the $25 to $40 million range. And so that's pretty intense, it takes a lot of time. And so given that whole scenario, and then the fact that we just completed today, the mayor was there for it, we just approved the final draft that the Economic Development Commission has for a strategic plan for economic development. And so without a plan to direct and push and encourage spending, I'm not going to spend the dollars. So we'll see a lot of funds that weren't used in the past year, and that's why the budget was dropped this year. In fact, programs were reduced by $23,500. Quick math before the meeting here. So that should increase next year because we'll have programs that are in the queue because of the strategic plan. So given that, that's kind of been our activity. We still do some retention and expansion visits. And indeed, some of our projects have been expansion projects. So Yaskawa being one. They've actually been here for a year and a half. So anyways, I answer any questions anybody has.
I have one.
Sure.
So on page 172, for other professional services, we've got in the budget 10,000. Projected activity for this year is 55. Original budget was 20, and 24 it was 30, and 23 was 5. I guess there's 10 in there. How confident right now for 26? How confident is that versus what we kind of trended on 24 and 25?
That was other professional services were for doing the strategic plan.
Okay.
And some of the projects.
So that's specific. All right. Thank you.
And we did actually, we carried some funds over from last year to this year. But we didn't.
That's why it's
spend.
projected
That's why
higher. Yeah, because
Yeah.
we did an amendment to carry those funds forward.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Next we have Public Works. Well, actually, if you guys don't mind, we'll let Joe go. I think that this is probably pretty quick. Yeah. So municipal buildings, page 80.
Page what?
80.
80. Hi, Joe.
Hi, everybody.
Good evening and welcome.
So Joe, what is your title now?
City of Franklin Building Superintendent.
Okay, so yes, Joe Chico is now the building superintendent and takes care of all of our buildings.
There's the police, library, city hall here.
Did we get you your tools last year?
I see that in the
It was the
budget.
other Joe.
I meant in general.
Oh.
Did we get you all your tools from?
I have to say I parachuted into this position in
Okay.
June, and I kind of, going over the budget, I don't even know what I don't know yet.
That's a
But
great
I-
question. Maybe
the-
Joe
your-
took them.
Your predecessor
good-
was bringing his own tools to work
I
because
see
we
that.
didn't we didn't have things that
Correct.
he needed, and we didn't know that he didn't have things he needed. So
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that you feel like you have what you need, and that you don't need to bring like
Well, I won't-
BYOT.
Yeah, I won't bring my own tools.
Yeah.
So, every day it's a kind of an evolving situation. I run into, I've been running basically since the day I started, so it's, when I get to a situation, I look to see if I have the tools. I borrowed some tools from DPW, they all lent me some tools. It's hard to answer that one because I don't know. I haven't run into a situation where I haven't had the bought a couple, but it's consumable tools. Basically.
Am I to understand then the other Joe is no longer?
His
Correct.
wife got a job opportunity in another state.
As the library board up to new Joe.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've been saying the same thing too.
I like to say
Right, we go from one Glenn to
Old
another
Joe
Glenn.
to a new
One-
Joe. Yeah.
One Mike to another Mike.
Right.
One Joe to another Joe. Seems to be the same growing theme here.
I like to say the new old Joe.
There you go.
The refreshed.
So Joe, it looks like, at least for this year, essentially just about everything you requested, pretty much down to the T, is in here. And to be fair, I think I made a typo. The consumable tools was supposed to be 1,300 and not 130.
That's why I asked the question. I was like, oh no,
Now
did
that
we
I'm
not give him
looking.
tools again?
It's
Okay.
funny because I'll say, no, cut the budget, they just dropped to zero.
That was an honest mistake, so
Oh,
I
that's
will
good.
make sure to.
And did I see under the landscaping was dropped $500 also?
Yes. I mean, I'd be happy to look at putting that back in there. I dropped it just based on historical activity, going back to like 2014, seeing that it had never really gone above that. But if you feel that you will use all of $3,000, I mean, look into.
Go into some
back
detail,
in.
please, because, like, for example, out here,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So there are some, there's some great landscape improvements that can be done around here. Will or motivation, basically, I'm by myself pretty much. I got a lot of help from DPW. There's a lot of things that can be done, a lot of things that I see that I would like done. I'm sure the mayor would like it done too. Looking at other municipal buildings, Greendale, Cudahy, they do a lot. They put a lot of money to them. We put relatively nothing. We had landscaping done, I think it was 2019. It was supposed to be low maintenance. Nothing is low maintenance. That was low maintenance until this year. Now it seems it's high maintenance. Everything takes time. One person.
I could use a pickup to get things done. I don't have a vehicle, so I have to. I need help. So anything that needs a vehicle, which is basically everything.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
The old Joe, I believe he used his. So I'm not going to for hauling stuff around.
It's
or
dangerous.
materials and stuff
Insurance and everything else.
Like that. Yeah. Again, there's a lot that can be done. There's improvements that can be done with walkways, stuff like that. Vision basically, and what can be done. It's pretty plain out there. What we have for the type of city we have, and this isn't high dollar stuff. This is general landscaping, but there's things that can be done to make it look awesome.
Well, and the other thing that I think when I was putting this together, looking at the building maintenance systems, we have a lot of aging systems in the library here, police department, and so it just makes it difficult to project how much it's going to cost, because if air goes out, we're going to replace it, right? We're not just going to leave it. If heat goes out and we look at the budget and say, well, we don't have any money left, we're still going to move forward with fixing the heat. So
it's probably not a discussion for here, but I know we had a lot of HVAC stuff done this last year, and I wanted to go through probably with you and see, did we put more money into the, like, say, the boilers at the police department? Was more money put into those than actually getting the new components with a warranty? Just pull the guts out, put new stuff in, and say, because I think some of the dollars are pretty big, and I think the components themselves together, they might not be as expensive as the repairs over the past, say, 2 years. So if we can pull out aging guts and put something in that has a 5-year warranty where we're not paying for the labor anymore, which seems to be the biggest cost of everything, charge and labor, might be cost effective to do something like that.
Is that part of a possible phase 2 with Johnson Controls, or? I
Yeah,
don't know if that's stuff
I mean,
that
I
they
think
looked
that
at.
that is stuff that got cut because of what we had to work with. But there is a conversation that we have touched upon to some extent or another multiple times that I would also like to touch upon now that I think we really need to do. And that is, there are people in each municipal building that if we could get together and talk about where we spend our funds for maintenance of whatever, whatever is the HVAC's a great example, but other examples as well. And we get one contract with one vendor for all these things, and we share it, and one person is kind of overseeing that versus having willy-nilly contracts out there. I mean, we can get a better rate, negotiate a better rate for services and that sort of thing.
It was this week. I was on the phone with a vendor. We have multiple contractors in the different buildings doing the same service. So I'm looking to consolidate, basically with fire protection right now, and so I think we have like 4 different vendors. One can do it all, and it was just how it was. Predecessors done things. We're going to get a package together with all the contractors to see who offers the best thing to go forward. I want to deal with one person.
Right.
One billing place. The paperwork is a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Looking at that. And it might not be it might be a better, we might be able to negotiate a better price. If not, if we have one person doing everything, when we do have a problem, hopefully they'll put us at the top of their list and take care of us first.
Right.
So we're not waiting.
Well, it's just the consistency too.
Absolutely.
It will be huge. I think that bringing it all under one umbrella is really important. And to your point, then we're going to find out that maybe we're contracting for services that are being taken care of through other services, or none at all. that we're paying for things that we're not
I
getting.
mean, the one I had this week, predecessor, we got one contractor doing it. The other company looking at it, it's $200 cheaper. So, like that. So we're looking to find better prices, cut costs there.
Anything else? Nope. Next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask one follow-up? Is the lease, the enterprise lease, is that amendable, or would that be not possible?
To add a truck, you mean?
Yeah, it's the funding. We'd have to see how much it would cost. Right now, what's in the budget for Public Works, it's water and sewer. We don't have fire in it right now. Public Works, water and sewer, and police are the only three departments that have vehicles at the we have some vehicles, or we have some departments that are slated for vehicles, but not 26.
Right.
Okay, next, Public Works. We have engineering.
Engineering next?
And we have the superintendent of DPW as well.
Yeah, for all the other
I
ones.
don't know if
You guys want to come up at the same time?
Yeah, do you mind guys coming up at the same time?
Page 125.
123?
Yep.
you guys get a crutch. Look at this.
All right.
Okey-dokey, fire away.
Well, engineering per se doesn't really have any capital projects that fall under Public Works and or Glen Department of Sewer and Water, so I let.
And I can, maybe from an operational
Operational,
standpoint for your budget, I think what I can state, what we did first was looking at the long-term solution for staffing. And so we essentially shifted the salaries and put it into engineering services. So that's where you'll see there's a significant decrease in the salaries side, we increase the contractual services side for the Grave contract. But other than that, I think everything was pretty much status.
Right.
Follow up on that.
And the
Operational
asks
side.
were, my understanding, just normal, not normal, but your typical increases to existing subscriptions and supplies. If there was anything else outside of that, right?
No. Other than that, then I think it would just be DPW, but DPW is 127. Kevin, how does your operational budget look?
Overall, the operation budget, I mean, we tried to hold the line on almost all the line accounts I call them. I noticed there was a couple of them that got a little cut from what, and I understand, like the fuel and lubricants, I requested 180, went down to 160. I told them that it's still more than what we had for 25, so I'm good with that. Took a $20,000 cut. That's one of those accounts where we just don't know, because the price of fuel is just all over the board. So we try to put in something for that flexibility. The other thing that kind of has come when it comes to our capital with equipment replacement, it appears that just the two trucks are what is going to be making the capital budget for next year. So because of that and not being able to get construction equipment, it looks like our rental equipment fund was cut by $6,000 from what I had requested. If we don't start replacing some of this construction equipment, I'm going to have to see if I can start renting equipment, because some of it is beyond its life. So I'm a little concerned with the $6,500 cut on the equipment rental, depending on capital. Is the capital pretty much is what it is? Just the 2 trucks? Then,
Today, yes. We will be having some more internal conversations over the next couple of weeks to determine what the city can borrow to fund some of the capital projects that are priorities in 2026. We just didn't have those conversations prior to the mayor's recommended budget being presented. So essentially, any capital that you see in here right now is just with the funding that we receive in landfill siting revenue and tax levy. The anticipation is to do some sort of borrowing in 2026. Some things are premature, and so we've talked about potentially looking at like first quarter, second quarter, some of these projects that may be moving forward towards the end of the year, and instead of determining a lump sum to borrow right now and then do another borrow for a potential project later on in 2026, we're kind of looking at work with what we have right now with the revamp of let's borrow all at one time to save us issuance costs and all of that, and be a larger amount, and then kind of determine at that point what equipment we can include with whatever large projects we're going to be doing, what sort of additional capital projects can be included at that time.
okay. And like I say, all I ask is if we are going to cut back on equipment, that we maybe consider the equipment rental account a little
On the operational side?
on the operational side, so that I could possibly rent something.
Okay, and we also did talk about, and there's nothing set in stone yet, but how you had mentioned to me potentially allotting a specific pot of money instead of telling you what specific equipment you can replace. So right now what's in at least the equipment replacement fund was those 2 vehicles that we had discussed.
Yep.
But if there's any additional funding, we had talked about just saying, okay, this is DPW's pot of money. You go out and buy the equipment that you feel is what you absolutely need instead of us trying to determine that for you.
And to that end, Alderwoman Day and I had met before this meeting, and one of the questions that the Alderwoman had posed was, does it make sense for each department to go back and comb over their operation budget and determine where they can cut 3%? And then that way the decision is the department heads, and they're determining by value what they can and cannot live without.
So do you mean 3% or just picking a specific number and saying, hey...
I picked 3%.
Right.
I don't know what the number would be.
Yeah,
but
right.
my thought was, instead of the 6 or 7 of us in the room who don't know day-to-day operationally exactly what you're doing and what you need, we can be like, hey, this looks like too much money. You don't need that. And then you're like, but I do need that because X, Y, and Z. But maybe there's something in here that we think is absolutely mandatory. We're like, yeah, we never spend any money out of that. So maybe it's a prudent idea to ask the department heads, can you find, where can you give some money back kind of thing. And that might help a little bit where we're not arbitrarily picking something to gut. But I will say, I did notice in the operations side, I see the footnote for it. This is 142 for electricity. The budget request was 18. We gave 22.5. I'm looking back the last several years. It hasn't come close to that. I see the footnote saying that in 2026, the new DPW garage will also be included, but it was never close to the 18 that you recommended. So there's 4,500 in operation that you could flip back to your rental. Potentially. That's already in there. I don't know if you need that because you didn't ask for it. I don't know if what the rationale was for bumping it up to $4,500, but
From my end, it was just seeing the increase in cost in 2025.
Yeah.
So the electricity part is kind of a new one for us because of the addition. This year we had 13,000 and we're over budget by right as of now.
You're at the 22.5 right now, or that's what you
at
think?
the 13 that we had for this year, just over by $57. But we've got some of the worst months coming.
Sure.
So we're probably going to hit at least probably $1,500 a month. So we're probably going to hit the 19-20 mark. Okay. But this is new to us because this is going to be our first year in 26 building. So that's one of those, 22 might be just fine, 18 might be fine, it could be in between there, I just don't know yet.
Okay.
So, and then the other one I had a little slight concern on was the 5420 account, traffic signal maintenance. I requested 5, but that account has been taking off more. The 25, we're already 4,000 over budget. And that's because we are taking over, sharing the cost of county road light maintenance, stop and go lights. And it's starting to get more and more. And so it's starting to build. So that one is why I had added to that fund, but it was dropped back down to the 1,000. I really think that should probably be a little bit more on back up. But other than that, those are all I've got on the operational side.
And the capital side?
Capital side, I see all that was in there is the 2 trucks and a floor scrubber. There's other things that, all of them are needs. Parks, I had money in there for Ken Wendell. That's a rental facility. It needs a roof, it needs rain gutters, it needs spacious soffit, it needs an air conditioning furnace. That's one of those where we're probably we're gonna stop rentals now. The roof is leaking bad, we're not gonna rent it anymore. So that's it. Other than that, we had play structures in there. They have to start to get replaced. All of them are starting to age out. I get it though, we have to wait. But as things wear out, if we can't replace them, we'll just take them out and move them. Want me to talk about each in my head in there?
No, not necessarily.
All I can say about the equipment is we have several pieces that are aging out and beyond their life. We're just not able to use them.
I know that there's some, besides equipment, there's some major projects that I believe, Mike, you feel are a necessity for 2026 if you guys want to kind of talk about those larger ones. Start with Drexel, I guess.
Road program.
For the road program, we applied $2.5 million for, and then Drexel.
Yeah, so the 2.5 million is the annual road program, and then the next stretch of Drexel from off this year to the first 27th. It's going to be an expensive project. The soil there, as you know, are horrible swamplands. So we budgeted at 4.5 million construction for that, or project costs, design, inspection, the whole gamut. So the thought process there is getting that in. Same time that potential retailers be on the corner of 27th Drexel. So the road is done as they open their. We should be open in fall 20.
So what is I understand the want to get that in prior to Costco coming in. However, what is the probability that it could happen and be completely finished before they open the store?
The Drexel itself, very high. We didn't start the design now, get out the bid in January, we'll get built by fall. Time that they should opening the doors. Last thing we want to do is have Drexel close and then have another opening. Drexel. Like poor planning.
So is there any repercussions to not doing it? Other than maybe 2-3 years down the road we do it when Costco's already established?
good, it's an option. I don't know. Not that long. There's a swamp, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
There's a swamp area in there that we can't do much to it because it's in a wetland. Have to keep pretty much everything the same. Can't really change heights.
In a floodplain.
In a floodplain, yeah.
I know the answers to these. I feel like, who is it? Who always says that? Or maybe it's the mayor. You always say, I already know the answer, but I just want everybody else to
Yeah,
hear it,
yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
not everybody in this room hears.
It's $4.5 million
These-
today. Wave 3 is going to be 5.5, 6.
So the cost and the need because of, we don't even know
Yeah.
if
The
it's going to hold up.
degrading
Yeah.
of it, I mean, like, what are we looking at? Does this result in like an sinkhole, or is it like something different? No.
I mean, it's already got pretty good washboard effect that we've done, but and it just
I drive it every day.
Yeah, oh, it looks terrible, and it's always underwater when it rains.
Kind of the other benefit, they close Drexel, you'll force Costco contracting to use. Side benefit.
So when we redo it, because it is in a challenged area, what's the lifespan on it? Like, when's the last time we did it was what?
I believe it was right around 2004.
I was gonna say early 2000.
You know, but it doesn't take long. Within 10 years, it's going quite a bit. So hopefully this time we can do a little bit more to help it along, more longevity out of it. Hoping, but being that the sales are so bad, we're limited on what we can.
Actually, the floodplain's the biggest, you can't really raise the elevation of the roadway because the floodplain issue. Yeah, but it's a big deal to permit that and on areas that's. But, I mean, we'll look at that too as we get into design, we're just not there.
The solution's gonna be necessary, because that is a major thoroughfare.
We need to do it.
And also, to your point, you can't have construction going on during a grand opening. That's setting them up for failure. And we're gonna have to figure that one out for sure.
You're not going to name fire.
Yeah, right. Contribute and give us a firework.
And then I think the other one was that Forest Home pedestrian bridge.
Oh, yes. Yep. A bridge just off Forest Home behind Countrydale School. Has a bridge on there that's
Is it the one that's over the river?
and it's not in the best of
An
condition.
unfortunate adoption.
Needs a little TLC and it gets more life out of it. That's why we're.
Is that something that can wait a year? Or two? Or
Point, you have to close it. Point.
Just the former We Energy.
It's already like everyone's being routed off of.
Yeah, we did. We had it closed for a while, and then we had a structural engineer come out and take a look at it one last time, and he felt it was okay enough to start letting foot traffic over.
Foot traffic but no vehicles, right?
Okay enough.
Then the PD.
I know, it's like, that doesn't
So,
instill confidence.
But we still would really like to get that.
For
Field trip.
properties we did not have to.
So no school field trips at once.
Was there any other engineering DPW projects at least? Because the next one would be
Sewer and
yeah. Real quick, how is the enterprise fleet program going? I think we budgeted what Jennifer presented to us, and I don't think that there's any additional vehicles in there for 26 though, correct? It's just what we have for right now, and then you're going to continue to drive the vehicles that the city.
Right, unless be another failure. So that would be the only thing that would come. That was the only reason we replaced that last one, was we had a complete engine failure. Didn't make sense to put 1,000 into the truck. And same truck for how many years?
And then last thing, the 2 vehicles that we talked about that are in here, are those going to be delivered or anything in 2026? Or I know we just kind of slated ourselves for them.
They would be available end of this year,
Okay.
but we wouldn't pay for anything.
Until 26. Okay. Just making. Okay. That's all I have. Okay.
Thank
Good.
you.
Thank you. And then we'll have Glenn come up from sewer.
Feels so classroomish.
Right.
You're dismissed.
204.
Flash dance. Desk. Mayor, is our meeting at 11:30?
Yes. Sure.
What time?
Huh?
Oh, tomorrow, a meeting.
Different meeting,
Sorry.
a non-fun one.
Hmm?
That would be okay.
Aren't all meetings fun?
No.
Not tonight's in 46 minutes or 44 minutes.
Good evening. Some of you know me, Glenn Beardsley, first year superintendent for sewer and water department, but we'll only be looking at sewer tonight. So it's been an interesting year, just getting my feet under myself, learning where the money comes from and where it goes, and it can go in a hurry in our business. So as
Right down the sewer. Yeah, right.
unfortunately, that's
So apt.
I'll just kind of run through, I mean, for the most part, we're, I think, operations, I'll just, attention to software maintenance. We have multiple programs that, we kind of run our own computer system, separate from the city, our SCADA program that monitors all our stations, and so we have separate software contracts than what the city uses, you know, standalone things. So those are just going up in price, along with we have a specialist that does our programming. Their fees, like everybody else's fees, have gone up. You know, it's just stuff we can't do, and when we need to have it done, we have to have it done. Thought there was one. Didn't highlight that one. Equipment maintenance, which was just above the software. It kind of, we have 5 lift stations. As the council's aware, we've spent some money on one of them, but you know, that's just, this year it probably will all be spent. It's just, we don't know when something's gonna need to be done. So it's just something to be aware of, that something's broke, we have to fix it right away, because we don't have an option not to. As far as capital, there were some bigger requests. I know, sounds like there's some consideration there. I guess I'll start with the auto equipment. That's our enterprise vehicle fleet. So that number's going to change. Like 43,000 will be good for 26. That's adding a vehicle in 26. We'll still have 4 or 5 yet that aren't in the program. So over time, that number is going to increase, just as some of the vehicles age out and we add more into that. But that'll become more of a fixed cost along the way.
And just to note, that is one of the accounts that is split between water and sewer. So there's 43 in here, and then there's 43 on the water side for the vehicle.
The other capital was looking for its, the brand is a Godwin pump. It's a portable pump for emergency use if we have to bypass a station. We hope we never need to. The one we have, it's so old and it's, you gotta try to prime it. You might as just leave it, or, you know, it should have been replaced years ago, but that's just what that's for. And it would be for even, you know, public works flooding situation if we weren't using it. It would be available for other uses in the city.
What's the lead time from the purchase till we have one? And I'm asking from the standpoint, if we had an emergency, something we can purchase right then, or is this lead time type thing?
Some of it, this would be like a on wheels, a trailer mounted unit.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these are more readily available. It's just, you know, we had those heavy rains.
Yeah.
You know, this area was inundated, so now you're competing with others that might need the same product. You know, so but in a lot of times it's not days. You need it within minutes, and you know that's. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. That was that one.
How often is something like that used?
We hope never. I mean, theoretically, we hope we don't have to, because now we're discharging into a creek. But if it comes between somebody's basement, like the August rains, we were probably pretty close. I mean, granted, it doesn't happen often. It's just, you know, I mean, we have, just like we have backup generators, you know, we hope we don't have to use a lot of this stuff, but it's when you need it, you know, it's hard to quantify, you know.
Is there someone else that you could work out an equipment sharing type agreement?
Here again, it comes to, like, we had to I mean, Muskego, I recently talked to they had every piece of equipment they own in service. I mean, we were very fortunate.
You have a situation everybody else has.
So, yeah, it's, I think I'm not sure what the 750 we had in the 26, or if that was like a carryover. That might have been 76, just in case we decided to move forward with the project. That might have been earmarked.
5826.
I think that was for 76th Street if we decided to do something there. Yeah.
And that was for 200,000 for the sanitary sewer rehab, and then 550,000 for the trunk lines. Oh, maybe not. I apologize. I don't remember.
I think it was just a placeholder for a project. The 112th Street lining project, that kind of coincides with the St. Martin's Basin, where we know we have a lot of infiltration. We're wanting to, instead of replacing mainline sewer, they line it. It'd be this is the North Cape Industrial Park, back behind Fisco. It's old clay pipe. I believe it's still solid for this type of rehab. But, you know, we got to start kicking off some of this infiltration. And it's not anything MMSD will cover because it's utility owned, city owned. So kind of on our own. But eventually we got to start trying to slow some of this infiltration. 550 for the south, that's been kind of a placeholder, just something happens. Nothing really there. The 200,000 sewer rehab has been a fund that doesn't necessarily always get used up, but it's for when we find repairs, infiltrate, you know, stuff we can fix throughout the year. It's more a capital fund because it's a fix that's gonna last. It's not, so, that does get used throughout the year. We have done some work this year already. Now I'll just hit the big one, the St. Martin's pump rehab, which, council members know we have purchased 2 new pumps. The station was built for 4. I feel the station needs 3. I mean, the first new one should be here next month. These have lead times of 40 weeks, possibly. These pumps are 100 horsepower pumps. It's just the unknowns of only having 2 pumps there. They're brand new. We all know there's recalls on brand new. We hope, but when the station was built, it wasn't in thought to have a 3rd pump, so we basically got to build a whole new control panel. We're working through some engineering. We had engineering money in for this year, so I think the number's high, but until you bid the project out, and we're looking at a new PLC, basically a whole new control center, plus the 3rd pump and the construction to get in there. It's something as an operator we had asked for many years, but it never made it to this level. So I know, when the things get ugly, but I know it's a big number, but it'll continually be asked for just because of the redundancy that it offers, and we're still adding to that basin. There's still plenty of new construction to feed to that station as well. So. Yeah, when we placed it in August, we're right there.
If you have situations, you have 2 pumps running, you really.
If one pump would have failed, it would have been basements, and we would have had to figure out how to start pumping. That's and besides that rain, we've been in a situation before with previous rain, so it's not like that. That's a one-off. I think Joe, having worked in the sewer department with me, could justify the St. Martin's. Like, there's nights you get there and you're hoping you can get that other pump going because
the need is.
I feel so. I know it's a price tag, but then it's not going to get any cheaper. Yeah, I understand.
Well, you mentioned
right. So, other than that, any questions I can answer? Water. No water.
Yeah, no water today.
Only dirty water. Dirty water. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
And I think last we have, Last we have IT.
No, yeah, we already spoke. We're cutting them loose.
These will be passed around.
Have a good one.
Exhibit A.
I'm not going to do that by PowerPoint.
Right, this is insane.
Oh, you got it? Good.
Very thorough.
I don't need to pull it up.
So, I already have it.
Look at them, they're quickly leaving.
Right? They said, bye.
Clear a room.
There'll be a test on this 47-page
Apparently
document.
IT isn't that exciting, huh?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Well, he's putting that up, I think, just for ease of time. The rest on the agenda is Kelly and I, and so we can just move that to Mondays. Unless you want to stay until they recess by yourself, because I have kids to pick up.
Do you want to do OpEx first, or do you want to do CapEx?
Let's do OpEx first.
OpEx?
So it's page 58.
I'm just going to hit the slides that have.
Because you put together an excellent book product when I
No, that's my story. The rest of ours is Monday.
All right, nice little summary right here. Looking at OpEx, we have no changes in staff, no changes in salaries. Data processing, we normally have $30,000 for ad hoc projects, for project management, and additional supplemental consulting. As we start moving our data centers into cloud-based services, we're getting now to the point where old-aged knowledge and skill sets are not going to take it. So I'm going to be becoming more and more dependent upon vendors to turn around and run forward with projects and give us helps and walk through all the screens on it, which is one of our greatest risks right now is vendor failure, where vendors turn around and claim they can do something and then they only give you 70% or 80% of what you turn around and ask for, and it's like, well, what are we going to do with the rest of the 20% on it? That's a big risk out there. Or vendors completely and totally claiming they can do something and can't. So this has always been in that fee. I can see in the future that probably going to become more and more important as we start moving stuff out of a data center. Data centers are rapidly going away. Our on-premise data center I have planned to be mostly in the cloud by 2029 for it. So both here and the police department, by 2029, we're looking at going almost all cloud with only certain systems that we have to keep on site. So we're going to see a large change of what used to be CapEx, now turning around and sliding into OpEx for it. So data processing that will be becoming more and more expensive as we go along. GIS services, we have an increase this year of $24,300. Those that don't know, Todd Niedermeyer, who's been our GIS manager for 25 years, retiring. And will be retiring as of December. He owns a consulting company that we have been using for 25 years. Fortunately, he's not dissolving and selling his consulting company upon his retirement. He's keeping it open. He's stepping down. He's not going to do any on-site work. And it's going to be basically Brian Fazel that's going to be running the entire show. So Brian is going to be given a boost up in his salary for what Todd is paying him. And he's going to be both manager for GIS, and he's also going to be the head engineer analyst for it. So the cost increase is going to be the cost basically of Todd retiring, and basically Brian is going to be turning around and doing dual roles.
Question, sorry.
Mhm.
How many hours do they both put in right now?
They put in 16 hours each. So they normally work Monday and Wednesday. Sometimes they'll work an alternate Friday on it. Brian also works over at New Berlin.
So are we going to have 32 hours still, or are we going to be paying the same price for
You're
Brian
going
to
to be
just
paying
work
basically
16
now
hours?
consultant grade price, what it comes down to.
That's
We're going to
what I
be
was-
getting the same, basically the same amount of hours, maybe more Fridays added onto it, but just at a higher price point. The downside to it is if I wanted to say we're not using that consulting company anymore, it's getting too pricey, that the hourly rate has gone too high on it. I'm going to turn around and go out and try to find and hire my own GIS analyst. You're not going to find a GIS analyst. They don't exist out there. That's the biggest problem, and let alone the knowledge of a person turning around and doing it for the last 25 years. This is one of those damned that you do, damned if you don't situations. Do you turn around and start over from scratch and try to hire a person at the rate and try to get more hours at a lower rate right now, or do you just turn around and go with what's being proposed by the person who owns the consulting company and pay Brian dual role position at a higher hourly salary rate?
So
That's what
again,
it's coming down to.
repeat, we're only getting 16 hours of GIS services now with Brian
No,
only.
each.
No, if Todd's retired. I'm sorry, after Todd's
retired.
retired.
It's gonna be
That's the
16
part where I was like, okay.
plus more Fridays
Okay.
for it. What it's going to be. So he's still doing his 16 on it, plus additional Fridays for it. But the hourly rate that Brian is getting charged now, charging the city, is going to be considerably higher.
What do we use for GIS?
Everything. It's all your maps.
No, I mean software.
Oh, ArcGIS.
ArcGIS.
and it's also my goal for 2026 to also move ArcGIS from an on-premise system to an ArcGIS online, which you'll see in the software maintenance for it. So that's going completely and totally to the cloud. Equipment maintenance, we have a decrease of $16,672. I'm eliminating the HVS CollabGuard video surveillance system that's been costing us $18,000 a year. We put that in when we put the video surveillance system in. They barely are doing anything. But right now, we're paying a ton of money for them, and they are really doing a horrible job of maintaining that system. We may go over to an alternate system in 2027. Instead of Milestone, go to something else, because we've had a lot of problems. One of those, let's put it in 80%. But I'm not paying them $18,000 a year when we're basically doing their job for them. I'll bring them in under parts and pieces and take it under the data processing budget instead for it. So we're going to save money there. We're also putting in the IT. This was never put in under when it went from CapEx to OpEx for engineering for the document management system. So we have a Kodak scanner that's under a maintenance contract for $1,003. I'm adding that to the IT budget. That's not in anyone's budget right now. And I'm also putting in $1,500 for any parts, pieces, and repairs for the audiovisual conferencing system that was put into in 2020. And that's not under any form of maintenance or repair. Right now, I've been taking out of ad hoc budget right now from the IT department every time I have to call Heartland and they coming in again, turn around and do a repair on it. Software maintenance. This is going to be where we're going to see a lot of changes coming on in the future. Where if we move from CapEx to OpEx and we start moving to the cloud, it will hit this budget really hard. Rapid7, we have an increase this year of $223,157. Part of that was Rapid7 compared to last year. We had to use contingency funds for this year because I thought at the beginning of the year, $81,000 was our first thing we did in July was turn around and have to pay Rapid7. And with Rapid7, I didn't have a budget because I thought the PD was going to put it in their budget, and the PD thought I was going to put it in my budget. No one put it in the budget. So part of this 223 is minus the $81,000 of that should have been in the budget last year, but it wasn't, and we had to use contingency funds for it, etc. We are looking at a police grant for that. We do not know if it's been approved or not. Jason Ireland wrote it, security grant for the police department, so that might be covered under a grant. Microsoft Office 365 license, $112,000. This is going to be now paid each and every single year. It used to be in CapEx in 2023 and 2024. Now it's going to be an OpEx expense because it's an annual thing you have to turn around and pay. It's no longer a project. VMware. VMware sold. Dell used to own it. It's now being bought out by Broadcom. The cost of this has just screamed astronomically high. Everyone in their horse out there in IT is complaining about their cost for virtualization in VMware. Broadcom is raping people on the price for it. It's common knowledge out there. What used to be, when we first put in our VMware servers, was a $1,800 a year expense, is now $28,800, and you have to put in a 3-year commitment before you can turn around and even get the opportunity to turn around and get your VMware license renewed. We turn around and paid that, and it's going to be $28,827 now for the next 3 years. And by 2029, when we're done, that's one of the main reasons why we have to get off of our private data center, is the cost of what we're seeing with VMware with virtualization software is now just through the roof. The cost of servers, the cost of software is getting through the roof. Because everyone wants you to do your cloud-based subscription, a service, and no one wants to turn around and service your data center. VMware Veeam Backup and Recovery, that's another $4,000 increase. We're adding the cloud backup modules as we go to Office 365 to our existing backup and recovery, which really now is right now only licensed to turn around and backup stuff locally then archive it also disk to disk and disk to tape. And then we have our IT security monitoring tools. We have Lapide, which is $16,500. That audits our Active Directory and also our file servers. It generates reports, so if someone deletes a bunch of files that we had down in engineering last year, deletes a bunch of critical files, we need to know exactly who's turning around and deleting that on the exact server. NXLog, that's required for ProPhoenix. It's part of CGIS. And the Square9 document management services, also has maintenance support contract that was in CapEx, and now that's in OpEx now that that system is actually online. Sundry contractors. We have an increase of 1,909. That's primarily the cost of our DigiCert and SSL certificates. They seem to get more expensive each and every single year. It's used to secure anything that's a web server with a digital certificate. Office supplies, no changes. Operating supply, no changes. Equipment supplies went from $1,300 for additional LTO backup tapes. Data communication, even with the Spectrum backup lines. The big one we have here is telephone. We are on TPX, and there's a $7,700 increase. Most of that, some of that is due to the hardware. The vast majority of it, 1/3 of our bill for telecom, is fees and taxes. And TPX is out of California, so you're paying California taxes. A lot of what we're seeing in the increase in telephone is actually increases in taxes. Fortunately, we are no longer using our AT&T dedicated line, so we're able to take that out of the telephone costs for it. So overall, we're doing well with the telephone costs compared to what we've done in previous years. And then education and conferences, no changes. Questions? Lots.
How much of all of this is mandatory?
I know.
You know, some people are like, oh, I could go without this. I
The
could go
closest
without
I
this.
could be cutting off of that, really. The certificates you need, looking at the last page, certificates you need the telephone. So there's LTO tapes might be able to turn around and do it with a decrease on it for the increase. Software maintenance, that's the biggest one off of it. The closest we can do would be giving up Lapide, because that is not required by CGIS, but yet we had an incident where we needed to have that monitored, and if someone does the same thing, as long as we're on a file server instead of a document management server, someone starts deleting files, there's a risk of knowing who actually deleted what on that particular file server. VMware, that's required. Our GIS moving to portfolio license, that's now going to be required as we go to the cloud on it. So the biggest cost reduction is if we get that grant or not.
Okay. So, capital.
Capital. All right. The biggest one we had, and we've been predicting this out now for back when Peggy Stino was here, even when Mark Liberta was here, it's a 5-year project. We have two 3-par SANs. SAN's a big box of hard drives. It runs all of the data storage. We have one here at the City Hall. We have one over at the police department. They're 10 years old at this point. As of August 2026, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise will no longer support it. Can't get parts and pieces from it. We can't get disks from it anymore. And we use HPE as our storage engineer on it as well. So we've known, and I've been putting it in for the long-term planning budget for a long time. Peggy Stino was taking it out of it. I don't know why. That in 2026, we will have to replace our 3-par SANs because they just, hands down, are no longer supported by the vendors. If something blows up on one of the hard drives, we can't get parts. One question we have is, can you use Hyperconverged for it? And everything that I'm getting, because of the problems with VMware is tied to now a lot of the hyperconverged infrastructure out of there. Everyone is moving away from hyperconverged, and they're going basically to the 3-tiered system that we have today: compute, networking, and storage. is basically 3 different tiers. And I'm also getting a lot of recommendations. Keep going right now with what you're turning around and doing with Fiber Channel with it. Don't go to Enterprise or iSCSI for it. For that simple reason, you don't have to turn around and replace your core switches. You can hook it up right back up to the back of the 3-car stand with it, and I don't have to then put in extremely expensive Enterprise switches, which you used that money to turn around and pay for consulting services for a failed Active Directory migration daily for it. So that money was no longer in there. We never took the money for the core switches. That went to Common Council. They reallocated the funds for that, and that's those funds for the core switches, which will be coming in 2027 for it. Those funds are being used for our Active Directory migration project, our project of going over to Microsoft 365 and Exchange Online for it. So all those funds for core switches went away. If you don't have the core switches with iSCSI, what do? Answer, keep with Fiber Channel and make sure that the stand that you actually have, talk to the Fiber Channel cards that are back of our VMware for it. We have one for the police department, one for City Hall. It's $121,000. It's basically following the exact same architecture that we have today. I do have an alternative for it, and not a great alternative, but it is an alternative. It gets you disaster recovery tomorrow if you wanted to go down this route. And this would be an annual cost if we go ahead and do it, and that would be moving our entire data center over to Expedient, who has a big, huge data center over in Franklin Industrial Park for it. And we take all of our virtualized servers and basically move it onto their equipment. We run it on their computers, their networks, their SAN, and we turn around and pay them $23,300 a month, turn around and run everything over at their site. And they turn around and replicate our most sensitive operational servers over to their alternative site for it. So not only do we have our stuff running in their data center here at Franklin, if you ever get that big huge flood again, or you got a ransomware attack that encrypts everything, it does have your most core operational systems turning around and being replicated over to another data center somewhere else that they can then turn around and replicate back again.
So
that's expensive.
Yeah. So does this include connectivity, or is the connectivity assumed?
Connectivity is the connectivity is going through our fiber optic network and then out over to the ECC on WISCnet. We put a site-to-site VPN to their data center over in the Franklin Park.
So this one is interesting from the standpoint of if you want to move to the cloud in 2029, this gets all your stuff out, gives you the ability to start working on that, and technically over time, this amount should go down because you'll have less sitting there.
Correct. Or as we start moving things to cloud services. Good examples, BSNA. BSNA right now is a .NET application that runs on everybody's desktop that talks to his SQL server here locally for it. BSNA has cloud-based software. I'm proposing this in 2027, 2028 of moving, whenever we have opportunity to do that, moving BSNA to the BSNA cloud services off of it. Realizing it, this big uplift to our main land management and financial management system over to an entirely cloud-based system off of it. But just like we did with GCS with LandNav, where we moved it to a cloud. Now instead of running BSNA locally, now running it into a cloud. Same thing with ProPhoenix over at the police department. They do offer ProPhoenix, not too many people are on it, ProPhoenix Cloud. Now I have to move everything from our ProPhoenix servers and I move it over to their cloud. As we start moving more things to the cloud, that cost should go down. However, now is BSNA's cost going to go up because now you're on a subscription service with BSNA in the cloud? That's a good possibility. So it may begin to go with a little bit of a wash as you start moving things to the cloud. You still have the cloud services, but this does give you DR tomorrow if you want to turn around and go down that route. So right now we do not have disaster recovery. When we had the floods, my first thought is my data center, which is down in the basement over here, going to get flooded out. That's the one thing that keeps me worried at night. It's not is electricity. We got a generator. Is flood. and the
Temperature.
and environmentals, air conditioning. If that goes out, we've got a problem for it, and it's a small data set. So we have always been at a risk of DR, and CGIS also requires now, Section 13 of CGIS requires disaster recovery as well. We don't have to be in compliance with it for another 2 years, but we have to really put disaster recovery on the forefront. Whether we do it today or whether we do it planned in 2029. It's like we can go either way. We can buy a SAN, which we're going to use only for 3 to 5 years, and then get rid of it in 5 years, or do you go with the bigger price tag, and then do you go with a fully outsourced data center? But go either way, and I can see a very strong argument for it. This is where I kind of bring this to the Technology Commission, also the Common Council. Which direction do you really want to go with this? Realizing sometimes it takes time to go to these independent vendor clouds for it. If we continued putting in a new SAN and then going along the ways of moving your data center slowly piece by piece. That's the biggest one in here. UPS, I'm going to show you a diagram real quick. Hopefully you can see that it's a little on the small side here. Move it up a bit. All right. This is our fiber optic ring. This is our WAN. What we spent $1.2 million building, and we have some problems with it. That when we found out that when the DPW suddenly went offline, suddenly every single office lost connectivity down here to the Franklin School District ECC, which is where we pick up Wisconsin. Right now, all communication on the ring is going one directional, going clockwise. It's not going counterclockwise right now. All communication to the ECC, even though the PD is like right next to it, PD, City Hall, Fire Station 1, Fire Station 3, DPW, Water Department, Fire Station 2, DPW. Every single office is going through the DPW in order to get to the ECC. They have to put in 5 new switches in order to fix this problem. Spanning tree problem. Doing everything a block right now. New switches for it. But they got to reconstruct some of the switches because their original architecture was flawed, vendor failed, and they have to add 5 new switches in order to turn around and make this happen. Right now, the DPW goes down, no one can turn around and go to the ECC. So until they get this fixed, we've got a risk here right now, and the DPW did lose power several times. One because of an electrical outage, and another because they were replacing the transformer, and then the transformer didn't work, we went in again. So the CapEx here is to put in a new UPS, better UPS at the DPW with battery backups in case it goes down. I'm under the $21,000 that I'm going to have to pay for PPX to put in the extra switches. I'm going to try to take that either out of extra money for here. I'm not putting it in as another allocation. I'm either going to try to take it out of 2025 money or whatever I can squeeze out in the 2026 CapEx. So I'm not going to be asking for any more. Turn around and fix that problem. We may not need all of the batteries for the DPW, and then UPS also for City Hall. If we go ahead with the new SAN, when you're replacing the SAN, you got to tear apart your rack. That's the time to replace the UPS for City Hall. And last but not least is the time server. That's required by CGIS. We've been out of compliance for it for a long period of time. And when you have a timestamp on something, especially at the police department, something happens, whether it's on your video surveillance or it's the accurate time for the CAD system over at the 911 system has a time server. We do not. The 911 system is separate right now. We have to get a time server in here, and it's required it has to be up to 6 milliseconds. And all the WAN devices, everything in all the offices can turn around and use that one NTP time server for it. I'd like to also get eventually digital clocks here that are set to the NTP, and then also the door access controls. So when we have daylight savings time, percents get on ladders and reset all the clocks, they reset themselves, and we add them to the millisecond. Questions?
I don't have any. I think everything on the capital side, I think both operational and capital, everything you requested is in the budget for right now. So. Thank you
Hopefully
for
I
that
can find
overview.
some cost savings that when it comes down to when we get the reviews requoted with multiple vendors, we can find some cost savings to it. So I don't need all of the money, I'm hoping. And then we can hopefully return some back.
Right. Okay. That's it. That's all that I have. I know you guys gotta go, so I figured, like I said, the rest we'll do on Monday.
Do we just hang out here?
Well, I mean,
if the three of us just stay here,
They would
there's
never-
not enough.
Okay, if we're done, I have a motion to adjourn.
Make the motion.
Second.
Okay, so moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.